Today, we are talking about how I started theater. And a lot of you guys have been asking me, how did you start theater? And I was really considering not making this video because I don't think that I'm successful enough as a theater actor to give people advice on being in theater. But then again, nobody in the Philippine theater community has posted a video on YouTube about this. So I thought, why not? Because, I mean, people would rather me than nothing. If this is like Lea Salonga, she's in the top tier. This is me, and this is nothing. So I'm still a bit above nothing. But before we go into my theater life, we're gonna make some milk tea.
Here's 5 seconds of me trying to fix my tripod.
Moonleaf just sent us this make your own milk tea kit. It's good for 4 to 5 servings, and we're gonna try making it today. I don't cook at all. Let us see to try. Let us try to see. So here we have the goodies. There's a bag of royal milk, some black tea, some brown sugar, milk tea, winter melon essence, pearls, or as you Americans call it, boba. Boba means a different thing in the Philippines. They also gave me a milk tea, how to make your own milk tea. How to make your make your own milk tea instructions. Do I prepare my black pearls or my tea first? What do you guys think?
It was at that moment she realized she was talking to nobody.
Should I prepare the black pearls or the milk tea first? Do I prepare the black pearls or the milk tea first? I thought mothers knew everything.
So I decided to start working on the pearls first because it takes longer to make. So I put some water in a pot and waited for it to boil.
When they say boiling, how boiling is boiling? Rolling? Not just like little bubbles. Just little bubbles, okay.
While you contemplate the meaning of life, or rather boiling, throw your pearls in ambiguously boiling water and leave it on medium heat.
Stir, stir, stir. Ano yun? Sando? Ito.
Cover for 35 minutes and stir occasionally.
We are going to make it with an electric kettle because the pots are being used and I don't want to search for another pot.
Now we have to boil some water for our tea.
Also, don't mind my nails. They were supposed to be like sunset themed. They just ended up like ugly themed. Milk tea.
Take your water off the heat and add some black tea leaves.
Smells good. Smells really good. I love tea. Stir well, they said. Stirring well. Let's check on our boba babies. Don't call your babies boba in real life. That is not nice. Our boba babies are looking good.
This might look like those fancy nature time lapses, but in reality, this is just because my tripod didn't want to lock. I didn't know that I was putting this part on time-lapse mode, but anyway, this is what you would have heard if I had recorded this properly. It says here to strain the tea, but I'm also straining my neck talking to this camera. That's exactly what I'm doing. Straining. After steeping for 12 minutes, strain the tea and add the milk.
And now it told me to add the powdered milk. It's a lot of powdered milk, but whatever, I trust them. So I'm just adding it gradually so that I can make sure that it's well dissolved. Wow, baker. I want to see how it tastes like just the powdered milk.
Tastes like Bear Brand.
Duh, because it's powdered milk.
Now take your sago off the heat and attempt at a voice over voice.
I'm trying to find a pitcher or a jug that will fit more than a liter. I don't know if we have one. We just use a big water bottle. This pitcher will not fit.
I ended up making 1/4 of the recipe and left the rest as concentrate. Now get your reusable cup and straw, then realize they're dirty, so you have to wash them. Now mix in the milk tea concentrate with some water. Try to open the winter melon syrup with your hands and realize you're not good enough and use some kitchen scissors to do the trick. Oh my god, I meant to say that I'm not strong enough, but what a Freudian slip, right? This is what happens when you forget to put the cap of the measuring cup back on.
No! Oh no. I didn't know how much math would be involved in this production.
So what I'm doing here is measuring everything and then getting only 1/4 of that measurement, then putting it back in the container after getting the full measurement.
Smiley face. Heart.
Stir well.
How will the pearls fit in here?
Making some space for my sago. Then watch some YouTube while waiting for your pearls to finish cooking.
So it's time for me to finally make pearls, or as you Americans call it, boba.
Next, you drain the pearls while trying to ignore the messiness in the kitchen sink. I did this on purpose to seem more relatable. Rinse it until it gets cool, and don't let Uncle Roger see you doing this with rice.
I'm cutting it. It's squishy. It's squishy. It's squishy.
And put your pearls in the glass. Then dissolve some brown sugar in hot water, but you can actually just skip this step because I don't like my milk tea sweet.
Great. I did a fantastic job. I'm the best. So, how did I start theater? I was fortunate to be part of a family that really supported theater. I first encountered theater when I was not even conscious because I was a baby. I was a little baby. My sister, she was doing professional theater at the age of 4. She first started with Repertory Philippines, Annie. That was in 1999. So I was like barely a year old. My parents would sometimes bring me along to the shows or rehearsals in case that nobody could watch me at home. The year after, my sister was also in Repertory Philippines' Oliver, which is also a show about orphans. I don't know what joke to make. Anyway, lauchengco-yulo, if you guys don't know her, she is often dubbed the first lady of Philippine theater. According to my mom, I was a really fussy baby. I would make I would be like, Mommy, I'm a baby, mommy. And then she would be like, shh, there's a show. I'm a baby. So I'm just like, I don't care. But then every time Tita Menchu as Nancy came on to sing her big song, which is As Long As He Needs Me, I would like shout and I would be like,
Even then, I could recognize the gravitas.
this is not my account because my brain was not formed enough to form conscious memories. So this is just from what my mom was telling me. Later on, when I turned 5, being the younger sister, I wanted to do everything that my sister was doing. And at that time, she was attending Repertory Philippines summer workshop. There's a distinction between professional shows and workshops or school plays. So professional shows, you do it professionally. You get paid and that is like, it's like a job. It is a job. But workshops, it's like a class. So basically, you pay the theater company that's giving the workshop. They give you classes, and at the end, you have this recital where you usually perform a show. So that year, it was 2003, my sister was doing workshops. I was like, I want to do it too. I was 5 years old. I loved singing. I literally, I would not shut up. I would just sing and sing and sing and dance. I was a very hyper kid, and I would often, climb the walls and everything. And my parents, knowing that they needed to give me something to do so that I wouldn't drive them crazy. They were like, she wants to do theater, okay, let's put her in the kiddie class. So that was my first rep workshop ever, and my teachers were Ariel Reonal and I am Barredo. Teacher Ariel, I still call him teacher, we were actually castmates already twice in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Ang Huling El Bimbo. So that was really cool to have my first teacher ever as my castmate. And, did you hear that? I love the chewy boba.
So chewy.
Every year succeeding until I was 14, I would take a summer workshop at Repertory every summer. Summer workshop. While I was taking summer workshops, I was also auditioning for every single show that I could. I remember the first show that I auditioned for was The Wizard of Oz. Tita Bibot Amador, who is one of the founders of Rep, that was the last show that she was involved with. She unfortunately passed away while the show was running, if my memory serves me correct. I was 6 years old. I auditioned for that show. I remember standing in that room not being nervous at all because I was 6 and I did not care if they liked me or not. I just wanted to perform. At the last point of auditions, they told me that I got in the show. Unfortunately, I had to back out because at that time, I was in school. Usually, the shows are on weekdays. So I remember telling Tita Bibot, and Tita Bibot is scary. Theater directors at the time were they were all scary. And I remember I told her, I was like, I can't do the show. By the way, in theater, if you know you can't do the show, don't audition. But she said, don't worry, I know you'll be back because I can see your passion. Take note, I was 6 years old. Do 6-year-olds even have passion? At 6 you're just what is passion? As I grew older, I was like, she's a theater legend. And she told me at 6 years old that she could see my passion for theater. That was a turning point in my career. That same year, I auditioned for the Mariugini Theater of the Assumption. I was in Assumption College San Lorenzo from kindergarten to high school. Meta was founded in, I think, 2006 or 7 by Ana Valdez Lim, who is a Juilliard School alumna. Is that the right word? She's a woman and it's a singular, so alumna, right? She is from Juilliard School, and she's an Assumptionista, and she founded Meta. And I started doing Meta from when I was 6 or 7 years old till I was 12, 13, 14, around that age. I remember my teacher, like, you know how teachers would ask you at the beginning of the school year, they'd be like, what's your name? What's your hobbies? And then I would be like,
Hi, I'm Kiara. I like to sing.
and then without even people asking me, I would give them a sample. You know how people usually like,
Sample.
I didn't need that. I just sing. I would stand on the platform and I would just sing. Some of my classmates would like come up as if it were a concert and I just sing the whole lunch. So of course my teacher was like, this kid likes to sing. I think she should audition for the school musical. I did that. I got in. So I played like multiple roles from when I was grade 1 to grade 7. I remember in grade 7, oh my god, my sister keeps messaging me. When I got into grade 4, I started getting soloist parts. And then in first year, I changed my club from Meta to Assumption Hardcourt. So that was like cheerleading, some playing gymnastics, all that stuff. Then in second year high school, I did Assumption College Dance Troupe. So that's dance, that's hip hop. Swag. Now going back to repertory, I also auditioned for The Sound of Music. There were like hundreds of kids there and I was not nervous at all. I think this was the good thing about starting auditions at a young age because I never developed that fear of rejection when it comes to auditioning because I got rejected so many times when I was young. So even now when I go to auditions and I get rejected, it's like I'm used to it. And oh my god, there were so many kids there, like hundreds. I was auditioning for Marta. There were like 3 rounds of callbacks and I made it through because they kept trimming and trimming and trimming. And they needed 3 sets of kids. I remember in the last stage of auditions, we were 4 for that role. Tita Baby Barredo, who was the director, she kept asking us to do our lines because they made us say lines and they also made us sing. And she kept making us do it like over and over again, like 3-4 times, and she kept going, I can't pick. She was having such a hard time picking, and she ended up picking through Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, and I was gone.
Looking back at it, I don't think that it was through Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo because I don't think directors cast like that. But maybe that's just what my memory chose to believe to protect my ego.
I was cut. Sad. I auditioned again for The Sound of Music in Resorts World. I was older by then. I think for Luisa. I did not make it either. I didn't even make it to callbacks. First round of auditions, I was cut. I also auditioned for Singapore's The Lion King as Baby Nala. And I got through to callbacks. And I remember seeing my audition paper that the casting director was writing it. And you're not supposed to see your own notes. My notes said, so I peeked. My notes said, strong presence, good voice, too tall. After the second round of auditions, I was cut. After that, I auditioned for Repertory Philippines Peter Pan. And I auditioned as a boy. I auditioned for John Darling. Tita Menchu was in the panel. And then she goes, I really like you, but I cannot cast you as a boy.
Because your body is developed.
Darn you, body! And I had short hair at the time as well. I was like grade 7 at the time. I had a pixie cut. And I was hoping that would work to my advantage. I didn't get the pixie cut because of that. I just wanted a pixie cut because I'm a quirky queen. They still didn't cast me because they were like, we don't know what to do with your body. At this point, I was really frustrated. As I said in the beginning, the rejections didn't really affect me. But then, as a kid, you're like 11, 12 years old and you keep getting rejected. You start thinking that, what if I'm not meant to be in theater?
Oh my god, I was having an existential crisis at 11, 12 years old.
What if I'm just not good enough to be an actor? And I had like all of the opportunities that I could. I have every privilege you could ever have going into theater and I still wasn't getting casted. I still kept going to Repertory Philippines summer workshop. We were doing the musical Footloose. I played the lead role, Ariel. Tita Menchu watched that show. At that time, she was working with Repertory Philippines and she was scouting for their next big musical, which was going to be Camp Rock. I remember being backstage, talking to my friends, and freaking out over the fact that Tita Menchu was in the audience because we were such a big fans of her. She told us to audition for the next musical, which was Camp Rock. I remember going into the audition room and then she was like, oh, it's you! And I was like, you know me? She was like, oh, I was starting to think you weren't coming because it was getting so late. And oh my god, there were so many people auditioning that day. The line was so long that most of us had to wait in the lobby. All of my friends that were my age in theater were there from all the other classes because they wanted young people in the show. I was so nervous for this audition because I was like, this is the perfect first production. And at that time, I was such a big fan of Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers. I had their faces wallpapered on this wall. And I remember at that time, people were saying that I reminded them of Demi Lovato. I was like, if I don't get the show, then I am nothing. I would have like literal dreams of being casted in the show, and then I would wake up and it's not real. I was called back, then I was called back again. And then I remember the third round of auditions, they told us that you're in. We were casted in the show. I was casted as this character named Rosie Day, who does not exist in the movie. She's solely made for the musical version of Camp Rock, because the musical version of Camp Rock is actually the story of Camp Rock 2. They needed a new girl in camp to replace what Michi Torres was in the original Camp Rock, so that you have this character that they explain things to. You know, she's like the expositional tool of the narrative. And that was the character of Rosie Day. So she was a first-time camp rocker. She was a first-timer. I was casted as that role. That's really my typecast. I play a lot of excitable, young. I'm so excited to be here. I remember being like ecstatic. This is my first time at theater. This is like everything I've been dreaming of since I was like 5 years old. I'm gonna be on the same stage as my idols. I'm working with people that I have been watching on stage since I was a kid. It was just amazing. The last show in particular, I was a wreck. I could not even sing my last solo because I was crying so hard. That is not a good thing to do because you have to serve the story. But I was very young and that was my first show. I was 14 years old. And after that, I took a break from theater for a while. I competed in dance naman. I focused on dance. I actually went to the World Hip Hop Championships in San Diego in 2015. I have a video recapping that whole journey. I'm probably gonna put it up there. I went back to theater with Resorts World's Annie. Tita Menchu was there again. So actually all of the opportunities that I've had in professional theater are because of Tita Menchu, and she's really like my fairy god first lady of Philippine theater, because I would not be where I am if not for her belief in me. Also, Miss Ana Valdez Lim, because she was basically my mentor when I was in Meta. I was under her tutelage for like 8 years. I was just lucky enough to have that kind of training and the support from my parents, because they were the ones who were bringing me to every audition. Every time they would hear about an audition, they would bring me. They're just super supportive when it comes to my art. That's kind of a hard thing about a lot of people who want to get into theater, is that their parents don't support them, or they don't think that it's a lucrative career. As much as I've never experienced that, I understand the challenge, and I get why parents would be worried, because parents would rather see their kids be stable, like financially. If you want to make a lot of money, I don't think theater is your path. Choosing theater as a career is really not for the money. It's really for the love. But there are ways to become financially stable in theater, because a lot of theater people don't just do theater. Most people earn the bulk of their income from other acting and performing jobs. So like TV commercials are a really big source of income for a lot of actors. So for the kids or not kids, whether you're 5 years old, are there 5-year-olds watching my videos on YouTube? I hope you're not. I hope you're doing something else, because I'm not educational. Whether you're 5 years old or 80 years old and you want to get into theater and you don't know how to, here's what you do. Join workshops. That is my number one tip, because number one, they give you experience. You learn so much about theater and experiencing theater and practicing theater through workshops. Some workshops don't only teach you about performance. More often than not, you're also the ones designing your poster, looking for sponsors, designing your set. All aspects of theater you learn from joining workshops. Workshops also help you build connections. Usually your teacher is already a practitioner in theater. I know a lot of people who teach theater workshops. They put in the effort to really tell their kids about upcoming auditions. I mean, I think with every industry, connections are important. They make you aware of the opportunities that are present. I know that workshops can sometimes be expensive. A lot of people have online workshops right now because of COVID. They aren't as expensive as in-person workshops. Other ways to get into theater if you don't have money for workshops: watch good movies and theater productions. I am not advocating for bootlegs, slime tutorials.
For the record, there are lots of professionally shot theater shows that you can buy online and lots of other free resources, so I do advocate for those instead of finding illegal copies online.
Listen to the original Broadway cast recordings on Spotify. Watch a lot of good movies and theater productions. You can also search masterclasses on YouTube. There are a lot of teachers that post their masterclasses. You can search Natalie Weiss. She is a vocal coach and she gives such good masterclasses, and I learned so much just by watching them, not even joining them. I know theater productions can also be expensive, but there are resources online. There's so many free resources online. You can also read, research, and study the craft, because theater isn't just practicing it in real life, it's also studying and learning. I am not a theater major. I graduated BA Psychology from UP Diliman, but I do my own research and I took lots of theater electives just so I can learn a lot. So theater is definitely like any other industry and craft that you have to learn as well as practice. I suggest joining theater groups on Facebook or like theater fan groups on Facebook, because sometimes they do post and you can get a lot of good opportunities and resources. There are also state-funded schools with good programs like Philippine High School for the Arts and UP, and private colleges that also offer scholarships like BNILD. OPA Foundation also gives scholarships for undergraduates in the performing arts. So if you want to take a performing art degree, they can help you get a scholarship. There are also dance studios and theater companies that offer scholarships for people who want to study dance or theater. Some of these include STEPS and PETA. So there are really a lot of opportunities that you can take. If you want to get into theater, you have to stay updated on auditions. Keep auditioning. Just audition. I could have another video solely on theater auditions and like etiquette. I suggest you follow all the theater companies on their social media. I will list them all here. They usually post about their classes, their workshops, their master classes, their auditions on their social media. Go to all of the auditions that you can. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I don't play basketball, but I've heard that line. And I agree. Michael Jordan. Ew, did you guys see that? Even practicing monologues at home and like showing it to a friend and being like, hey, what do you think of this? Videoing yourself singing or dancing, it really helps build your skill. Practicing it in real life is very different from just watching other people do it. So you need a balance of all of these things. Also, people keep asking me if they need to be like amazing when they enter theater, and the answer is no. Nobody gets to be good until they learn. You know what I mean? And the only way you can learn is if you do it. I already consider doing workshops. You're already doing theater. That's considered theater. So that's it, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions about theater below. I will try to answer them all. I read all of your comments, so don't worry. You will be heard. You will be heard. There's something screaming it. You reach up and you rise again. Stay tuned for my next video. Check out Moonleaf online so you can order this make your own milk tea yourself. It's really fun to do. I had a fun time. I had a fun time not burning the house down. That's a success. And you also get great milk tea. See you guys.